The Tipp FM Sports Star of the Year with the Talbot Hotel, Clonmel.
First of all, just a big thanks to everyone for coming to the 2025 Tipp FM Sports Star of the Year Awards. Just a massive thanks for everyone for being here. It's great to see you all here. Basically how this night works is we have 12 monthly winners. We're going to go down through each one of them individually, January all the way up to December, and we'll announce the winner of each month. They'll come up, have a few words. This is Ronan Quirke on stage beside me. And we'll go from there, January up to December, and then at the end of the night we'll have the Sports Star of the Year award. So a few thank yous before we start. Just first to Laura and all the team here in the Talbot Hotel in Clonmel. They've been great partners of this initiative here in Tipp FM, and this is all about kind of just recognising all the brilliant sports people in Tipperary, and we're so blessed every year. We've new winners, new sports, and we'll hear all those stories tonight. So just a big round of applause for Laura and all the team here in the Talbot Hotel. And the second thank you is for Quirke Trophies Ltd. They're the ones who've crafted the pieces that'll be given out to all the monthly winners. You'll see them on the table there beside Ronan. So really lovely crafted pieces. So a big thanks to everyone in Quirke Trophies Ltd. as well. So we'll get straight into it. We'll start with January. Let's rewind to January of 2025, and what a month it was for the presentation Thurles. In the matter of 72 hours, they captured the Munster Senior A Schools Camogie title, beating crosstown rivals Ursuline Thurles, and then many of the same players went on just a few days later to win the Munster Senior A Soccer title, beating Middleton High School. So please welcome onto the stage, on behalf of our January winners, Presentation Thurles teacher and coach Quirke Tracy and their player Leanna Coppinger.
Cian, I'll start with you. Just come out of the spotlight. Well, I'll get you to set the tone. Whenever you have a bunch of players, a bunch of athletes who are playing two sports, there's always competing demands, but you seem to be able to manage that fairly coherently.
Yeah, we've brilliant players, Ronan, and it's Leanna would have played across all three sports, ladies football as well, and I think it's unique for that group of players that not only did they play in a Camogie All-Ireland, they played in Soccer All-Ireland and in Ladies Football All-Ireland. So for these players, we were just really lucky, and we're blessed to have players of that quality who are willing to give their time, but also who are willing to play day after day. Every time the school asked, they turned up in spades, and Leanna being a key component. She played on the Saturday in the final against the Ursuline, scored against Middleton on the Tuesday in the soccer final. So it's brilliant to have players who are able to multi-code and go across all the spheres and excel in them all, I suppose.
We could talk about players playing multi-codes, and that would go on for a while, but we'll leave that for a minute. Leanne, many congratulations to you, first of all. I'm just wondering where you fit in any schoolwork, or is that an important question at all?
I try to fit in. Try my best, yeah.
Cian, Thurles Pres, I mean, it's nearly becoming an academy at this stage, because you were well known over the years as your basketball kind of academy. You've progressed into Gaelic games, and Barry's keeping the soccer flag flying.
Absolutely, and look, we're really lucky to have really good coaches. You mentioned Barry Ryan with Cork City, brilliant soccer coach. Caught Devan, who's down there, Casey Hennessy. They're massive role models for these players, and they give so much to the school, but every coach here knows it's all about the players, and we're blessed to have such brilliant players who give everything for us. And I think the real highlight of the year for me was there's a picture with the CBS lads with Robbie Ryan and Una Duggan, the captains from both sides, and I think we're the first town ever to have the Camogie and Harty Cup winners from the one town, and I thought that was a brilliant thing. And being a past CBS student, to be up in Croke Park and to be see the boys winning the Harty and All Ireland colleges was brilliant as well. And we're brilliant to be a kind of part of that story and a thread in that link. And it was a super year for Thurles, super year for Tipperary with the All Ireland wins, and we're glad to have got in before some of the other achievements this year.
No, it's absolutely marvellous. And there's been a bit of negativity about, Camogie, where the games get played. The All-Ireland was played on a pitch that perhaps wasn't really suitable for an All-Ireland final. There was a league match as well. But do you know what? Having publicity and giving oxygen of publicity to the girls is only going to raise the profile and avoid those negative stories.
Yeah, and I think the girls are really lucky to be involved in the final against the Ursuline last January, because there'd be a massive rivalry between both schools uniquely from the one town, and it drew a huge crowd, and it was a sweet one for us. We were beaten the year before in the final, and for Leanna and the rest of the team to come back, I thought it showed huge character, and we really enjoyed that one.
I'd say Leanne can't wait to get off stage, so I'll let you go at this stage. Leanne, thank you very much. Not at all. Thank you indeed.
Thanks, Ronan.
Your January winners, ladies and gentlemen.
So that brings us on to February of 2025, and February was a very, very successful month for Tipperary athletes, making it a very competitive month for the award. Thurles CBS captured the Harty Cup title, whilst Charlene Mosley won the national indoor 400 metres. Clonmel's Sean Tobin won the national indoor 3,000 metre crown, but this month's winner created history, becoming the first ever athlete from Moyne AC to win a national senior indoor title. Katie Bergen crossed the line first to win the national senior indoor 200 metre title. Katie couldn't make it here tonight, so please welcome to the stage to collect the award on behalf of our February winner, Katie's father, Tony Bergen.
Tony, unfortunately Katie can't be with us tonight. Can you give us an insight into the daily life of an elite athlete like Katie Bergen?
It's basically 24/7. Huge commitment. I'm not sure where she gets her inspiration from. It wasn't from me anyway. But the commitment just has to be unwavering, and it's a total commitment. There's no, everything, diet, no drinking, no going out.
No.
Lucky she has a boyfriend who's also an athlete, but otherwise I don't think it would work, to be honest with you. But yeah, it's a huge, huge commitment, massive commitment, yeah.
How was she running from when she was young, from when she could walk?
No, she started around 14 years of age, maybe 13 years of age.
I'm interested in, she won a national title in indoors. Indoor sprinting is quite a different beast to sprinting outside, so I'm wondering how she tailors her indoor season for her outdoor season.
Well, I suppose as you know, the indoor season is now at the minute. The national senior are actually on this Sunday, and so there's huge preparation going into that. But there's no time off. She might get maybe 2 weeks off in the whole year or something like that, and they just have to. And that's probably spent training as well. Like I say, it's just it's 24/7. That's the way it is. And if you don't do that, you're not going to compete. Like everybody knows at the minute, the female sprinting it's high profile at the moment with Charlene, and you have all the other Sophie Beckers and Adelecki, and there's we've loads of Irish very good athletes up in America as well, and scholarships and things. But it's so competitive at the minute, and it's just great to see. But at the same time, if you want to get an achievement, you have to really, really be at the sharp end, put the work in to be at the sharp end,
It's a kind of a rising tide floats all boats, and you mentioned Charlene, you mentioned the girls who go and compete at relay level, 400 metre relays, but it is a unprecedented time for Irish sprinting that Katie is riding the crest of a wave on.
Yeah, absolutely, and I'm not sure if you're aware, but she's actually on the sprint and the relay Irish squad training with them at the minute now as well. So it's it's like being on the Tipperary team. You have to. The hurling team will say you have to really, really, be at the sharp end to hold your spot. Last year she won this award for the 200 metre indoor, and 2 weeks later she was injured and she lost her whole season. But she's back now as strong as ever again. It's a tough sport, very tough sport.
It's extremely tough, but I think what's wonderful about the relay is it gives them a taste for team sports, because there's so much of what she does is spent on her own.
Yeah, nowhere to hide.
Yeah.
There's nowhere to hide on the track. You're out there on your own. You're competing against yourself first and foremost. That's what you're doing.
But also you're trying to get that bloody baton round as well for the team.
Exactly. Yeah, absolutely.
Well, our February winner was Katie Bergen, her dad. Thank you very much for coming up.
Thank you very much.
Well, March was another month where our voting panel had trouble trying to decide on a winner, as there was plenty of options. Rachel Blackmore recorded her final 2 wins at the Cheltenham Festival. At Tiptown's, Amy Lee Costigan captained Ireland in the Women's Six Nations, and Nina Ormond became the first Tipperary team to ever win the Munster Senior Cup. But St Patrick's Day in 2025 will live long in the memory for everyone in Thurles CBS, The Harty Cup champions found themselves 8 points down in the second half of the Croke Cup final in Croke Park before launching an incredible comeback to beat Presentation Athenry and be crowned All-Ireland Senior A Schools Hurling Champions. Please welcome to the stage on behalf of our March winners, Thurles CBS teacher and coach Stephen Maher and player Keith Lucknan.
Harty Cup doesn't get any better, does it?
No, it's funny, the award is for the All-Ireland final, but in Thurles circles and I suppose in Munster schools, the Harty Cup almost has more prestige and more weight to it. So it's interesting, but the Harty Cup, when you're in school and when you're teaching in school, seems to trump the All-Ireland at times, which is a funny kind of a dynamic.
I think it's because all the great players who've won Harties, throughout Munster's history, the schools like Flannan's, North Mon, Coleman's and Fermoy have all contributed massively, and then you've Thurles CBS as well. You go all the way back to Jimmy Doyle playing Harty as well, and there was a long time when Thurles couldn't win a Harty. So now when we're riding a crest of a wave of Thurles and Nina and Cashel, Our Lady's Templemore being so competitive, it must feed into a good news story for Tipperary hurling.
Yeah, it's when I see Brendan Cummins and Liam Catt sitting down there, and like you say, the Harty develops players. It's probably the most competitive competition they'll play at that age. Not to be putting down county minors and things like that, but it's probably the most competitive they'll play by the time they're 18, 19. And if you can mix it at Harty Cup level, the prospects of you going on to play 20s for Tip, senior hurling for Tip, go up. You can cut your teeth at Harty, and so many players now have gone on from those successful teams that you've listed off and are feeding into the Tipperary teams that we see being so successful recently.
Is it a shop window? Puts people on somebody's radar? The likes of Brendan, the likes of Woody, the likes of...
Yeah, you'd imagine so. Like I say, they see them mixing it at their own age level. What we've noticed over the years at the Harty is the lads who come back in September after spending a summer of adult hurling seem to thrive. So when they're in with the adult hurling, they're probably the younger lad on the team, and they're being brought on by the older members of Thurles or Upper Church or McCarthy and so on. But then they come back into school and they're expected to be the senior hurlers, the leaders. And when you can lead a team of exceptional talent, like the team we had last year or those teams that you've listed off, it definitely obviously bodes well for Brendan, for Liam going forward.
I'm always interested in the Harty, and when a team wins the Harty, you almost have to regather yourself, because you want to go out and you want to celebrate that, and you want to, because it's a tradition in the school as well, but you almost have to regather yourself to climb another Everest when it comes to the All-Ireland series.
Definitely, yeah, but I suppose from the start of the year we had such a competitive group that we were always looking at the long-term goal of a Croke Cup, so it wasn't too hard to get your eyes back on that.
I was looking at the size of your panel when you were going through that process as well. You know, I mean, I can imagine the competition is fierce if you have a panel that size.
Unbelievable, and training's spot on every time. People holding each other accountable, so there's not much more you can ask for.
It's easy to captain a side when people are holding each other accountable. It makes your job, I'd imagine, a lot easier.
100%. From 1 to 45, I think we had. No one ever put a foot out of place the whole year, so you can't ask for much more.
I was going to say, from a coaching and management point of view, that's as good as it gets. You know, when you're dealing with fellas, sometimes, you know, their inexperience belies what you're asking them to do.
Yeah, it's the group mentality. I suppose the system we have in Thurles CBS, I can't speak for every school, but if you are willing to train and you're willing to add to the group, you're on the panel. We don't. That's how the numbers go so high. We don't hold trials. It's not an opt-in, opt-out. We view it as a school team. If you want to compete and participate in an extracurricular activity for your school, you should be allowed to do that. So we will never cap the numbers on any panel. We send out Rice Cup panels with 60, 70, Dean Ryan panels with, you know, high numbers. That's just the way. It's a school at the end of the day. You know, I know it's a highly competitive environment, but if a lad wants to compete for his school, we allow him to do that if he's willing to put in the work. And as Keith says, we were blessed with the number, the boys that we had. No problem, no issue, turning up in the hail, rain, snow. We had a delay to the quarter-final because of frozen pitches. We asked the boys to send in videos over the Christmas period of pucking off a wall just to show you're still. And we'd one man, Ron O'Brien, spear tackle the snowman into oblivion to show that he was ready to go. So, the boys were just a dream to work with, really.
It is extraordinary, and it's hugely competitive, even in this county. And not to bring up, the disappointment of this year, there was a semi-final defeat at the hands of Nina. But that just gives you an indication that the margins are absolutely tiny.
They're tiny, and the amount of lads that we had playing last year, playing this year, shows how competitive it was last year. And same teams are cropping their heads up every year, so obviously schools are getting to the stage where they're all doing the same thing, so it's competitive.
Yeah, winning doesn't happen in a straight line, as somebody once said. It's a great news story. It's great for Tip. 4 Harty Cups from Tip in a row. So a Harty and an All-Ireland, ladies and gentlemen, to our March winners. Thurles CBS.
So we'll move on to April now. April of last year saw scenes of jubilation in the north of the county. Nina Ormond found themselves in the AIL's Division 1B playoff final against UCC in Nina, with a chance to reach the top tier of club rugby on the island of Ireland. However, the Cork side were in the lead by 11 points with just 2 minutes left on the clock. But what happened next will live long in the memory of those in attendance. The home side pushed forward and mauled the Cork side to the line, where they were awarded a penalty try. There was time for the kick-off and one last play. Nina ran the ball from inside their own 22, and following a series of risky offload passes, they released fullback Josh Rowland, who sprinted 50 metres to score a try and win the game, sending Nina to Division 1A of the AIL. Please welcome to the stage to collect the award on behalf of Nina Ormond, Club President Tony Wells.
The Munster Senior Cup, when you think about not that long ago, when Nina was a junior club, and where you've come and how hard it was to get out of the junior ranks into the senior ranks, and then to climb to where you've climbed. I'm not so sure that we're going to be able to do justice in the next 5 minutes to describe that journey, but it has been nothing short of monumental.
It has. I mean, if you consider, I suppose 20 years ago, Nina were in probably the 8th or 9th tier of Irish rugby, and progressively have improved, and each time they've improved, gone up a division, kind of consolidated, built on the club, consolidated more, put a lot of effort into juvenile rugby, put a lot of effort into our facilities. It didn't go mad, and then 2 years in a row we got promoted from Division 2A up to 1B, up to 1A, and we're in the top 10 clubs in Irish rugby. First Tipperary team to be at that level, and also last year the first Tipperary team to win the Munster Senior Cup. And I suppose the way it's changed is kind of, for years Nina were a feeder team to Limerick, who call themselves the home of rugby, and the Shannons and Gary Owens and young Munsters of this world were poaching Nina players with an expectation that they get a higher standard of rugby. And that happened up to a couple of years ago. But now we have players who have left Nina to go to the higher standard of rugby in Limerick, and now are coming back to Nina for a higher standard of rugby after leaving Limerick. So which shows how the club has kind of established itself within the top tier of Irish rugby. And also it's recognised that that rugby, it can be, and the same with any sport, it needs to be built from the ground up. It needs to be built from a community and from your juveniles and from the children to learn the sport, to respect the sport, and get the training that's good, but also the enthusiasm and the love of the club is as important as the love of the game. And one of the few things that we did, we've invested a lot in our facilities. And we have 2 4G pitches there, and everyone looks at that and thinks that's great, but I think the most important things we did is we painted the clubhouse, we put flower boxes there, we put proper lined car parking, so when you walk in you see this is a club that wants to welcome you and people are proud to be a member of, and I think that's partly the secret of our success.
I've had some good nights in that clubhouse, I won't tell you over the years, but more of that in due course. There's 2 things I'd probably raise with you. One is the buy-in you get from Nina Town. It never ceases to amaze me, because there's very prominent GAA clubs in and around that not only in Nina but obviously surrounding parishes. Prominent soccer clubs as well. You're competing not only for sponsors but also for attention, supporters, eyes on your game. But you've always, over 100 years, had great buy-in from the Nina public.
We have, and in fairness, I mean, there was a time, with Tipperary winning All-Ireland, the juveniles would have to look what nights are the hurling team training. We might train on a different night, and then Munster win a Heineken Cup, and maybe the hurling teams are looking at us, and will they train on a different night? But in reality, I mean, all sports are interchangeable. There's transferability of skills. I mean, for example, at least 3 or 4 of the Tipp senior hurling squad that won the All Ireland last year played underage rugby with Nina. So they probably didn't get their kind of strength and conditioning training poking the ball against the wall in the same way they probably didn't get their hand-to-eye coordination lifting weights in a rugby club. So, I mean, there is transferability of skills. It's important that all clubs recognise that children should be allowed to play whatever sport they enjoy up to whatever level they can. And no, don't be forcing people down a particular alley at a very early stage, because you learn from every other sport.
Yeah, sure. It was even the lad from Ballynahinch, Gleeson, plays for you. He won an All Ireland under 20.
He won All Ireland, yeah, Davy won an All Ireland under 21. Alan Tynan played with Nina. Jake Morris played underage with Nina. I took Jake Morris off on a trip with his father and an under 18 there about 13, 14 years ago. And they all learned from those experiences. And children need to be allowed to kind of express themselves in whatever sport they want, and it's for the benefit of every sport if children do that.
And the last thing I want to raise I don't know whether the Munster Senior Cup, I don't want to for a moment diminish that as an achievement, because it was ginormous. First Tipperary club ever to do that. You're going up against the big heavyweights of Irish rugby. But then to get to Division 1A, and for some people who mightn't be aware, when you go out every week and you're playing Division 1A, you're essentially, particularly with some of the Leinster teams, you're playing against lads who are academy players with Leinster, who are semi-professional, who are just getting game time with Lansdowne or with Terranure or whoever it is, because Leinster want to keep them fresh. And that's what you're facing every week.
They are, and a lot of clubs are like that. When we played Lansdowne earlier on this year, their back three had played for Leinster against Zebra the weekend before. And Munster Rugby do support clubs, but a lot of the clubs, in Limerick especially, have a lot of those players. We didn't go down the route of kind of poaching players that way. We had faith in the players that got us there. And the same, I'd say, 12 or 13 of the 15 that won the Munster Senior Cup will probably start this Saturday again against Lansdowne at home in the AIL. And, it's difficult. I'll give you a quick example. One of those clubs, and I won't mention the name, in Dublin has a coach that was a former All Black out half, who reputedly is being paid more than the budget of our whole club put together. And that kind of tells you what we're up against. But we don't particularly want to go down that route. We're quite happy at the way that we're community based. We have the support of the town, we have the support of the community, and the people that come because they love the club.
It's been a tremendous story. Many, many congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Not at all. Ladies and gentlemen.
So the month of May in Tipperary last year saw plenty of underage success. St Mary's Secondary School in Neenah captured the national first-year soccer title, whilst our minor footballers came within a kick of a ball from reaching a Munster final, losing to Cork in extra time. However, the Tipperary under-20 hurlers led the way in the month of May last year, beating Clare to win the Munster final before seeing off Kilkenny in Nolan Park to be crowned the All-Ireland under-20 hurling champions. Please welcome to the stage, on behalf of our May winners, the Tipperary under-20 hurling team, manager Brendan Cummins and player David Ryan.
David, I don't know where to start. What a team. What a bunch of players. I mean, you must be feel very blessed to be associated with such some fine hurlers.
Oh yeah, absolutely, sure. The talent from 1 to 30, whatever is on the panel is just unbelievable, and it's great. Like, even for younger lads like myself last year now, I used to be going out marking the likes of Darren McCarthy, Paddy McCormick. I had a 3 to pick between Darren McCarthy, Paddy McCormick or Oisin O'Donoghue, so it was a tough one. But like, even with that talent and marking that brings players on as well, and you learn just so much off them, and you can bounce off them, and they are leaders, and you see yourself now carrying those qualities in when those boys have moved on.
And interestingly, you had fellas who were in with the seniors who were coming back to play, but you mightn't see them every week at training, but you knew they were coming back for championship. Paddy McCormick stayed with you, arguably could have gone further into the seniors, but stayed with the under-20s as well. They're bringing something to the table as well when they come back, just those lads.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. It's not, they don't come back and think it's a drop-off. They carry on that standard that Liam drills into them, like, you know, and that's great as well. It shows that they're willing to give their everything to us as well. And yeah, no, it wouldn't have been done only for the communication between Brendan and Liam. And even if you talk to any of them, they're so happy with that communication. Like, they're never killed. They're never, like, they have no injuries. So that's the main thing.
Was there pressure on you, do you feel? Because you'd come from minor where you won an All-Ireland, and you had that dramatic Munster final when you were minors against Clare, went to penalties, I think. And then you go to a Munster final against Clare again. They had a bit of redemption and atonement on their minds.
Yeah, I suppose not being an underdog is a good thing as well. I know you always hear being an underdog could be good, but yeah, no, I think we knew, and as managers, Brendan and them, they had that drilled into us that there is an expectation on us. And I suppose you could say the first day against Limerick, that kind of expectation got thrown out the window, and you know, that's just the reality of Tip fans, that they kind of sometimes do turn against you after maybe one loss, but it's just getting back up on the horse and keep going, and straight back in train and getting a good buy-in and righting the wrongs, I suppose.
How important was that Limerick defeat? I know that might sound like a strange question, Brendan, but there was a huge level of expectation. What that did maybe is it tempered it a little bit.
Yeah, it did, and I think we always knew inside in the group that if we could work hard enough that we'd have a great chance of winning. Unfortunately, that night we didn't work hard enough and we didn't get there, and no more than Liam or anybody involved in sport, unless you're tick, you're no good. And we weren't quite angry enough, and that fell on me and my management team's responsibility that night. So in fairness to the team and Davey and all the lads, like even as young as he is, and Dara and Sam O'Farrell, these lads, they just grabbed it by the scruff the next night we trained. And I just knew coming home from Thursday night, the night after we had a kind of a warm down session or whatever, I knew after that then that we'd be okay as the year went on, because they were fine and tick after that now.
Did you find pressure that you had to deliver when you had such a pool of talent available to you?
I don't think, yeah, there is. There's always pressure. There's a huge responsibility. Like, I mean, David touched on it there. Like, the expectation to win is always there with Tipperary. Doesn't matter how good or bad anyone thinks the team. You're wearing that jersey with that crest on. You represent to the last dying breath that you have, and that's always there. And that's one thing I suppose I've learned from my time as being a player. And I suppose my experience of that, I try to brush on to any of the young men that come into our care, that it's not a burden, it's just a great excitement to get to play for Tipperary. Very few get to do it. As mentioned earlier there about a young athlete who got injured and thought it was all taken away and came back. There's plenty of players that we've had over the last couple of years who was all taken away in one injury. So the boys are fortunate, and trying to remind them that all the time. And there is pressure, but that's just the way it is if you're going to be playing at elite sport.
I'm always amazed at how mature the lads I'm speaking to, when even it's the minor panel, the under-20 panel, they're very focused on what they want, and dare I say they're a different bunch of lads than when you were playing under-20, for example.
Oh, they are, yeah. I can imagine fellas I had when I was playing under-20 got up on stage talking like this fella's talking beside me, is like a politician. Yeah. But what you call it, yeah, it is. It's different because, like, if you take it, we lost the All-Ireland final the year before against Offaly. We had a number of the teams still obviously underage, again 13 of them, but David and Adam and lads like them who came in from the minors really gave us a huge push on, you know, and it gave us an extra bit of energy and gave us positions to be filled with enthusiasm that we knew we'd probably need when the time was at its most. And David played in the Munster final really, really good. So that kind of stuff helped as well to freshen up the group, because normally at underage hurling, when they all hit the age, they all disappear and you start from ground zero. But we had them again for another year, plus the minors winning from the year before. It gave us that energy we needed.
And just lastly, we were talking to Thurles CBS earlier. Like, how important is that, what we've seen in Cashel, Thurles, Our Lady's Temple Moore, Nina now, for what you're trying to do and what you're trying to send up to Liam in due course?
Yeah, it is. I think it's the communication piece is huge. Me and Liam are very close and are very much aligned on that part, and myself and Donna and all the lads involved in the Harty and Thurles. The key thing is that when a player comes in, we have to know what they've done the previous week. So we're not overworking them. And normally they're all mad to play. Like if I'm talking with Tipperary or the school and all, they don't want to let their teachers down, their school down. So as managing workload it's a huge part of it, and watching GPS numbers after training to make sure nobody is going over and knowing what they're doing tomorrow and the day after. Because The young men we have in Tip, as we see from the 4 hearty successes, are really honest and they give everything they have. But the responsibility on management is to pare it back sometimes and tell them rest is as good as a training session. And thankfully, the work with the schools and the cooperation that I certainly get from Thurles and Nina and Templemore and all the schools in Cashel around has been fantastic. And working together has meant that we've had great success, limited amount of injuries, and Tipperary is a firm enough footing underage, thankfully.
And just finally, David, like, you've been with a lot of these fellas at development squads since you were 12, 14, and I'm sure you're very close, even though you're all from disparate and different clubs around the county. But that closeness has been fostered over many years. And when you go into an under-20 dressing room, there's a sort of sense of togetherness that obviously is hugely beneficial when you go out in the field.
Yeah, absolutely. I suppose that fostering that community, I suppose, sense is huge, like, because you will need each other out there. Going into Semple and those places, you need each other. Like, you need someone to be there for you and backing your back. And if you do something wrong, to just tell you keep going. But no, that's huge. And I suppose over the summer, I nearly meet those boys way more than my actual friends from my local town. Like, so they do become your best friends, and it's class. Like, it is a great feeling. Like, even a few boys down there, I've always been in touch with them. Like.
Brendan, I always tell people I wouldn't swap Tipperary's future with anybody because of what we've seen from Woody, from yourself, and what the pathway that they have into the senior panel with Liam. Many congratulations on that marvellous under-20 win. It was marvellous. Thanks indeed. Thanks.
That brings us on to June of last year, and in June of last year, a fairy tale story came out of Feathered in the world of horse racing. Joe Murphy trained his first ever winner of a Group 1 race after 50 years of training horses, but it was no ordinary race. 33-1 shot Sir Sen shocked the racing world, winning the Coronation Stakes at Royal Ascot, one of the biggest races in the world of flat racing, and had King Charles of England presenting the trophy. In acknowledgement of this achievement, please welcome to the stage our June winner, Joe Murphy.
Joe, Royal Ascot, I mean, I don't know if you were going to list the one you wanted, but I mean, I don't know, a Guineas would have been nice, Royal Ascot is nice, but just the impact that had on the yard must have been huge.
Well, it was as you said, it was a world stage, and we didn't really realise it, how important it was until we nearly got home. We had letters from France, from England, America, phone calls from everywhere, and probably being a small yard and representing Tipperary as well, and to go and win one of the best fillies races in the world, the Group 1, was just unbelievable. And the reception we got when we got back from the Feather people, and my family and myself are so proud to be here taking this trophy for the month of June.
It's a tremendous story because your own history, you probably started out National Hunt as most people did, and your dream was to perhaps get a good National Hunt winner to Cheltenham. The transition to flat, how did that happen?
It happened, I started off in O'Grady's when I was 12, 1965, and from there on all our family were National Hunt orientated. And I remember buying the first filly, flat filly I ever bought. I bought it from Sir Mark Prescott for £800. And I asked Mark, I said, why are you selling this? And he said, my boy, he says, look at her form. He says, she's been second 3 times. My men are gamblers, and second is no good to them. So we bought her, freshened her up, and she won the Liberator Handicap in Tralee, which is 5 furlongs. Christy Roach rode her. And I sort of felt that there's less risk and there's less injuries. And from there on, I got the cue from that filly called Liturgy.
Liturgy was the name of the filly. Maybe that's why they sold her. But your horse was 33-1 on the day. What expectation did you have? Because not a lot of punters were backing her.
Well, we were surprised. The day that I was in it, it's the one day that I never actually looked at what price she was, because of the race. It was a Group 1. And our value was her asset value, and hoping that she'd be run well and get placed. Do you understand me? But her run in the Guineas, if you saw her run in the Guineas, where she was third, she was the only filly in the Irish Guineas who passed 3 horses in the last furlong. So my son Joseph and I, we had no fear, and we had no fear of going to the coronation. We expected to run well, and we would have been very happy with the place, you know, definitely. But to win it is just unbelievable.
But preparing a horse for the Guineas, was the Irish Guineas you started in the Curragh? Yeah. So getting a horse ready for the Curragh and getting a horse ready for Ascot, how different tasks are they? Or?
Well, you have to have the courage to judge, or Joseph and I and Olive that rides her, and you just have, you take every day and you judge it according as your gut feeling sees it, right? And the Guineas was just a perfect run, and everything went right. One thing about her constitution, she's a fantastic traveller, nothing bothers her, and sometimes she's so laid back, you'd wonder, you know, is she, you know, is she going to be this good? Yeah, yeah. And it's amazing that an awful lot of good horses are like that at home, and when they get to the race course, the pedigree, the animal's constitution and their ability comes to the front.
It's a tough sport. We were chatting beforehand, like you were in Downroll the next day. You don't have, there's no opportunity in your sport to sit back, relax and enjoy because you're out the next day. You're out the next day.
That's correct. Joseph and I, we flew back that night from Ascot, and Tom Egan's horse was running in the Ulster Derby, and I think Joseph was up at 4 o'clock in the morning organising, and went to Downroyal, and I had to go to a wedding, and so Joseph and Tom, so they won the Ulster Derby the next day.
Yeah.
So it was a great weekend for Tipperary.
It was at Christmas Day that you probably sat back and relaxed and reflected on the achievement.
Well, I must give that credit to Joseph because he picked out the Ulster Derby at Christmas time.
Okay.
And he did put his neck in the block and says, we'll win the Ulster Derby or we'll take part in it. But again, we had a very good companion in for Friday. And he's a horse to look forward to again.
Okay.
He's got a slight injury, but he will be back.
It is a privilege sometimes as well to be training a horse that comes from the sire line that your horse did. She was by Australia, and Australia was by Galileo. I mean, that bloodstock goes back to Sadler's Wells, you know. It just shows you what's available on our doorstep here. And a bit like Nina Ormond, you're punching above your weight a little bit.
You are, but you see, you have to have the courage to enter in Group 1. It rises you to the occasion. And also, too, the yards like Joseph O'Brien and Aidan O'Brien, you have to rise your game, you know what I mean? And they brought that to a certain level. So you follow. And most days it won't happen. But there is the day it will. And every day you wake up, it's like having a bad day and a good day at sport. When you go home and open the door and you feel the release of, well, I'm home now, and we had a bad day. But imagine going home and turning the key and you won a Group 1 or you won an All-Ireland. That's the inner feeling you get. And it's what makes sport what it is. It's what gives us the incentive to carry on again and again.
I could talk to you all night, Joe. It's a privilege and a pleasure. Thanks today, June. June winner.
Well, July of 2025 will live long in the memory of everyone in Tipperary. For the first time in 6 years, we made the trip up to Croke Park to cheer on our senior hurlers in an All-Ireland semi-final as they took on Kilkenny. And that's best remembered for a wonder goal from teenager Oisin O'Donoghue late on to send Tip to the All-Ireland senior hurling final. That set up a first ever All-Ireland senior hurling final between Tip and Cork, with the Rebels hot favourites following league and championship successes over the Premier. But a second half performance for the ages, limiting Cork to just 2 points, along with 2 John McGrath goals and a Dar McCarthy penalty, saw Tip crowned the All-Ireland senior hurling champions for the 29th time. Please welcome to the stage to accept the July Award on behalf of the Tipperary senior hurling team, All-Ireland winning manager Liam Cahill, and from the backroom team, Michael Burke.
We only have 5 or 6 minutes, Liam, so I don't know where we're going to start. But I know where I think, if you look back in retrospect, where the All-Ireland, not where it was won, but where the opportunity to win it was made, and that was probably the point we got against Limerick. Some people credit the comeback against Clare. I quite liked the way you responded to Waterford. Basically, Munster's a bear pit, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It's a serious bear pit, and it will continue to be again this year. So, yeah, it's like anything. I suppose you have to get little breaks along the way, and that's sport. But we were lucky that we had a group of players that had huge, I suppose, huge belief this year. Really wanted to go after maybe redeeming themselves. All of us as a group, really. Redemption was big on our list because we hadn't represented ourselves in the jersey the way we should have in 2024. And yes, previous award winners have said, and Brendan and the team there at under 20, and even at Harty Cup level, our expectations in Tipperary are huge. And that's what it brings when you represent the blue and gold. You have to be able to adhere to them standards, and we didn't. And thankfully we got in behind it and gathered momentum as the year progressed, and brought everybody with us. Even the Doughton Thomases in Tipperary started to believe, started to come around, and the support got bigger, the belief got bigger, and the breaks along the way became bigger, and we ended up in Croke Park. And any Tip team in Croke Park is a very dangerous team to meet. So
was there an early, the first few meetings of the year when you came back at sort of the end of 25 and you're giving them programs to do and all this, that and the other, were you lifting them up from the ground, or were they already lifting themselves up? Was the sense of atonement, did it come from them, ye, or collectively?
It was very much player driven. Obviously we tried to support them, myself and the backroom team and county board. It was a big job of work. Everybody had to come together, really. But there was a huge accountability within the group as players. We had to support them, obviously, to make sure that they had that platform to perform. But in Tipperary, we always back ourselves. Even the darkest day we always back ourselves, because, and it's not arrogance, it's just that it's in our DNA to be good hurlers, and we have to keep revisiting that and keep believing it. And as a little blip along the road again last Saturday night, we revisited areas that would be seen as a concern for a lot of people, and we have to address that during the week and go after it. But we keep backing ourselves and keep backing our ability in Tipperary, that we roll up our sleeves and work hard, and when we do, we usually come out the other side.
Are we a Croke Park team?
We like to get there, but I think we have to develop a real resilience of being a Welsh Park team. We have to be an Ennis team. We have to be able to come on all them Gaelic grounds in particular. But we do like getting up the motorway, and when we get to Croke Park, we do seem to find a few lengths.
You said to me, I think, after the All-Ireland, that in the second half you saw something. It was almost like everything you'd seen in training, Dr. Morris Park on wet nights in April, wet nights in March. It was almost the culmination of all that. But it was like everything that could go right did go right as well for us. Everything that could go wrong did go wrong for Cork. But it must be very pleasing when you see, on the biggest stage of all, the players delivering perhaps their best performance of the year.
Yeah, it's a culmination of the work that goes in, Ronan. Really, all your work comes out there. It's the prep you put in behind the scenes, and I think we tend to forget at times as well. Like, it's only a year and a half ago I was coming out of club matches in Tipperary, and people are saying, "I don't envy your job. Where are you going to get them from? They're not out there." And suddenly the narrative in Tipperary is there's a conveyor belt of young fellas coming through. We're going to go on, and the next 10 years are going to dominate. We've been here before now, and we've experienced it. And there's no guarantee. The work that all the schools are doing, it's superb. The work James Woodlock and Brendan is doing is superb. But there's very few of them players step up to be top-class inter-county players. It's like Joe Murphy schooling a horse in the morning. He might come out and win in Thurles, but will he win in the Curragh or win in Ascot? Or Graham Holland schooling a dog around Clonmel, and he goes to Shelburne and he finds he's 5 lengths short. So you just don't know. So we have to be very, very careful in Tipperary that we don't get ahead of ourselves either, because it's not maybe as rosy as we see until we're tested, and the tests will be coming.
They are coming. Very quickly, Michael, the backroom team, it's a numerous, there's a lot of them there. I think we got a sense in that documentary that was made at Christmas, Blue to Gold, where even the contribution of the sports psychologist and how he's having a word in fellas' ears. There's an awful lot of people driving that, putting their shoulders to the wheel to get those fellas over the line as well.
Yeah, I suppose, it goes back to the man that's in charge. And if you haven't the respect of the boss, you're in trouble. And Liam demands excellence from us all. We all have small roles to play, but everybody has to play it well and get it right. And that's what the backroom team's role is, to see, and be there to help. And when the call comes for something, be there to do it. But I suppose I'm fortunate I've been involved with Liam through my years since he was a minor manager, and I suppose we know what he demands. We also know what he can deliver, and that's what's more important for Tipperary. And it probably puts an expectation on Liam that he has to deliver, but he has delivered and will deliver again. But he's very cautious as well, as you see there, about the conveyor belt and the whole lot. We just have to be patient in Tipperary, that we have to get it right, and get it right all the time to be successful some of the time.
Okay, and just finally, Liam, if you compare where we are at the end of February 26 with where we were at the end of February 25, are you in a different headspace now, or is it just you're repeating what was successful before?
Like I'd say, that's a brilliant question. We're a little bit behind in some areas because of being All-Ireland champions. But, any successful sports people playing at the highest level will say, if you get up, every morning I get up and I say to myself, am I doing this job as good or as not better than I was 12 months ago? And if we as players and management team and county board and support people are not thinking in that way, we get done and we get caught. And it's a different kind of a feel this year because you're coming in as All-Ireland champions. Expectations are higher. The standards have to even go higher to make sure that we do ourselves justice and give ourselves the opportunity of getting back up to Croke Park. And, there's quite a bit to it, to be honest. But to answer your question, a league final is probably beyond us at the moment now, but we won't say that there's any great cause for panic. We feel there's a nice number of weeks there to get work done to be ready for the 19th of April, which is our All-Ireland in Thurles again Cork. And that's really where our real focus is going to be. And, I'm really looking forward to this. There's a great excitement within the players. They carry this responsibility really well. Our reaction after last weekend has been really good. And I'm really looking forward to the next 6 or 8 weeks, and looking forward to the visit of the Sea of Red to Cork in a couple of weeks' time.
I don't think any of us will forget where we were that July Sunday afternoon. Those of us who are lucky enough to be in Croke Park will never forget it. I'm sure you won't forget it as well. One of the great sporting memories I think I have, and I've a lot of the great memories. So thank you to your team most particularly, and to your backroom staff for those memories.
And thank you to everybody in Tipp FM as well for the support. You give not just the GA but all sports in Tipperary. Without that platform to encourage all our supporters at whatever sport we play is just incredible. So thank you to Paul and yourself and all the team in Tipp FM.
And you get a sense, don't you, of the quality of different sports, even if we're only up to July, but you get a sense of what's in the room.
It's a great county to be from, and fair play to all our winners tonight as well.
Thanks very much.
Well, August was a month where there were plenty of worthy nominations for the Sports Star Award. Clonmel's Packy Mullins won a Masters All-Ireland handball title. Newport's Charlene Maudsley won the national 200-metre title. Ballina's Maeve O'Leary captained Munster through an Interpro final win over Leinster. And Clonmel cyclist Max Fitzgerald came 8th in the scratch race at the Junior Track World Championship final. But the August Award went to a Tipperary man who won the men's national hammer throw title for an incredible 5th year in a row. Please welcome to the stage our August Sports Star of the Month from my Quirke Cool Crew Athletics Club, Sean Mokler.
Sean, I'm a bit obsessed with the hammer as an event because I was very lucky when I was a young fella to know Pat O'Callaghan very well, two-time Olympic champion in 28 and 32. What attracted you to that? Because it's such a technical event.
I suppose kind of as a young lad I started off doing cross country, and naturally enough everyone starts off there, and then as you go on, tried all the track events, tried a few field events, and kind of took a liking to the throw. And I remember one day out in my backyard we had a hammer there, picked it up, had a go, and I kind of thought I was fairly good at it, so I kind of stuck with that ever since.
Well, there's throwing events like, say, putting the shot or throwing a discus, which have technical elements to them, but I don't think anything is as technically difficult as the hammer because of what you have to do before you even release the thing.
Yeah, I was going to say it's probably one of the most, if not the most technical event in all of track and field. You can be as strong as you want or as tall or as big as you want, but if you don't have the technique down, you're not going to be very good. So that's kind of, luckily enough, I'd be fairly good on the technical side, so it makes up for a bit of my weakness. But yeah. 5
national titles in a row. So not only, it's obviously a sport you must love because you're back at it year on year on year.
Yeah, no, definitely great sport to be a part of. But yeah, like you kind of catch a fever once you win it once. You kind of always want to go back, and hopefully again we'll be back up again in Dublin this year, going for 6 in a row.
And what does training look like for Sean Mokler on a sort of weekly, monthly basis? When's the downtime? Because unlike Katie, you don't have an indoor season for the hammer.
Yeah, thankfully enough, no indoor season, but it is a very long year all the same. Kind of, the year kind of starts September, October, and kind of winter training then, but like my season won't start till the middle of April, and then it'll end up in August with nationals. So it's a very long year, training 4, 5, 6 days a week, depending on it, in the gym as well. So a lot of hours put in.
You can have a small niggle, like Katie wins a national title and then has an injury, your season's over in jig time. I would imagine in your sport there's nowhere to hide. If there's anything, any body part that's not quite functioning at 100%, you'll get cut out in the ring.
Yeah, no, it's very, obviously very technical, and if any bit of your body is sore at all, you're not going to do too well. Unfortunately, I've had a few back problems the past few years, so it's kind of prevented me from pushing on a small bit, but thankfully, by the end of the year each year, I've been healthy enough to throw and good enough to win every year.
And is that the focus when you start off in September and you're planning your year, national titles?
Yeah, national titles. You're always looking to kind of go to Europeans as well. So I was at the European Team Championships last June as well. So that's always kind of the next step up from nationals. But kind of as you say, like a national title is nearly more valuable than making a European team even.
That puts you on the radar then from Athletic Ireland and all that comes with that?
Yeah, exactly. You kind of get your name out there the more you're there, and like that's if you're an athlete in Ireland, you want to be up in Santry in Dublin every August winning All Irelands or being on the telly and stuff like that. So yeah.
Sean, it's a tremendous event. 5 in a row is something that's hard done, but you can ask any of the lads out there how hard it is to do 5 in a row. Many congratulations. We look forward to the 6th.
Thanks very much.
Well, September's award was another fiercely competitive one that tested our voting panel to the limit. Among the nominees were the Tipperary Golf Club ladies team, who won the Golf Ireland Ladies Junior Cup in Armagh, and Tipperary darts player Aidan O'Hara, who won the World Youth Pairs Cup in South Korea alongside his teammate Jack Courtney. But this month's award went to a Golden-based greyhound trainer who won his 5th ever Irish Derby final, this time with a dog called Cheap Sandwiches. Please welcome to the stage our September winner, Irish Greyhound Derby final winning trainer, Graham Holland.
I love the name of the dog.
Yeah, it's a catchy name. He's a lovely dog to train. We're very, very blessed. Very lucky.
5 derbies. 5 seems to be the theme of the night, but 5 derbies, they don't get any easier to win, Graham.
No, you need a lot of luck along the way, and obviously I'm only as good as the dog I train.
How busy are you, and does winning derbies just get the phone ringing an awful lot more?
Look, we're fairly busy, yes, that's for sure. We've never really got too many empty kennels, that's for sure.
Okay. And what goes into it? Just give us a flavour of what goes into getting a dog ready. Liam made a point, you can have a dog who performs really well on a Sunday night in Clonmel and then flops when you get up to Shelbourne Park.
Look, you've got to be in the right place at the right time with the dog, but there's a lot of luck involved. We've been very lucky over the years, but it sort of falls into place. You plan a few months out, and hopefully you don't pick up any injuries. You get lucky. You've got to get a lot of luck in draws and how your dog runs on the night.
I was going to ask you about that and sort of the trap that you get put in. That's completely that can go anyway.
Yes, you know, like Cheap Sandwiches in himself was a very consistent dog. He actually got to 3 Derby finals in the same year, English Derby and 2 Irish Derbies. So, fantastic dog to train, very consistent, a natural athlete. So, and he always kept himself sound, and he is coming back to go for the English Derby this year as well, and the Irish Derby.
And when there's a level of expectation that comes then with that, isn't there?
A bit of pressure for me, but look, if he's not doing what he should be doing, he probably will be retired to stud, but he looks to be going very well.
Okay, well, we'll look out for him, because I don't think anyone in the room is going to forget the name of Cheap Sandwiches in the course of the next while. Many congratulations to you. 5 derbies. Are you the most winningest?
Yes, look, I've been very blessed.
Is that a word? Winningest? I think it is. Well, it is now.
It is now.
The most winningest Irish Greyhound Derby winner from Golden.
Thank you.
Graham Holden. Many
Thank you.
congratulations.
Now, October is always a very busy month in the GAA calendar in Tipperary, with county finals taking place across all codes. However, the GAA world here in Tipperary and across the country stood still in October upon hearing the news of the sudden passing of Tipperary senior football manager Philly Ryan. A Clonmel man true and true, Philly gave his all to Gaelic football, both with his club Clonmel Commercials and with Tipperary, with whom he served as a goalkeeper for over 15 years, captaining the side numerous times. Following his playing days, Philly gave his time to coaching with club and county at all levels before taking on the role as Tip senior manager for the 2025 season, as he handed out 16 debuts to young Tipperary footballers with an eye to the future. Philly also joined us on Tipp FM for many live match commentaries, where his fun, witty character shone true, along with his great eye for the game. A true legend of Tip football, our October winner is the late great Philly Ryan. And to accept the award on behalf of the Ryan family, please welcome to the stage Shane, Anna and Amy Ryan.
Shane, you've been nominated. I don't know, it was at a family discussion beforehand, but we'll chat to you first and foremost. Look, everyone in the room, you know, when the news came through, a tremendous shock for everyone. But I just want to maybe bring you personally back, because when you were with Commercials, Philly probably was your coach as soon as you started kicking ball.
Yeah, as far as I can remember back, and stories from Mam, as soon as I was able to sit up in the kitchen, we were rolling ball to each other, and then got to kicking ball. And sure, from under 6, he was my manager, and under 6 all the way up through underage, and then obviously Tip senior football last year. So yeah, it was great to have him for the journey, and the knowledge that he shared along the way will be taken with me forever, that's for sure.
He was a passionate man.
He was, yeah, he was. I can remember first blitz, I think it was under 6, got whipped off by the scruff of the jersey for not pulling the weight, so that just shows how passionate he was.
Yeah, no, we all enjoyed watching him play, because if you were playing in front of him, you certainly had him in your ear, because no fullback, I think, ever came off a Tipperary pitch without their ears being roasted by Philly from time to time. But he had a great career as well, and I think, you know, people will remember him when he passed. He was the Tipperary senior football manager, but let's not for a moment forget the years of service he gave Tipperary football as a player.
He did, yeah, and I suppose to captain Tipperary to any All-Ireland is a huge honour in itself, but I suppose sporting-wise he was great, but I suppose he was a great family man too. Family was his first and foremost, but he put his all into sport, Tipperary and Clonmel Commercials, that's for sure.
And I think it's fair to say that when Tip came calling, there wasn't too many people putting up their hand to take on the Tip senior footballers at the time, and you know, he was inheriting a panel that was having to reinvent itself. So even that in itself was a very, very courageous thing to do.
It was, yeah, but it was always a gig he wanted, and I suppose he made no. He always said that he wanted it. I suppose he took the bull by the horns and just got into it. There was no real complaining with him, no excuses. As Paul said there, 16 debutants. That's a massive number, you know. Trying to rebuild a team from the ground up, but no, he got a good team in behind him. That's for sure. Didn't get as many wins as we would have liked, but no, it's just a shame that we didn't get to carry it on this year, because he was really looking forward to the 2026 year and what that was bringing. But it's a shame that we can't bring that forward.
And also, you talk about contribution to Tipperary football. I'd also like to mention his contribution to Clonmel commercials. Over for his, like, I think he started off around the corner from me, because I was on Queen Street and he was around the corner, and he'd be playing football in what was the 5-star car park. Now, you're too young to remember the 5-star car park, but that's what it was at the time.
No, hearing stories from his sister Claire and Mam, he was diving around concrete from about 5 years of age, so he always had that bit of craziness instilled in him. And I suppose he was about 16 when John Mack came calling, looking for him to play with the seniors. So from 16 years of age up until 50 whatever, he was still involved heavily with the club. Yeah.
Look, you know, a legendary figure of Tipperary football, a friend to a lot of people, not only in the town of Clonmel, but also in the county of Tipperary. A friend of mine, a friend of so many people's, and you know, on a night like this, it's just the real happy memories that I really want to focus on. Happy memories that it gave me, gave ye as a family, gave Tipperary people. And look,
thanks very much. Thanks, Ron. Thank you.
We're down to our final two awards, and the November award went to a club who will look back very fondly on 2025. Upperchurch Stromban achieved their goal of regaining their senior hurling status last year, beating Carrickswan in the County Premier Intermediate Hurling Final. But that turned out to be just the beginning of a journey that would lead them to winning provincial honours, becoming just the third Tipperary club to be crowned Munster Intermediate Hurling Champions, following their win over O'Callaghan's Mills in the final in the Gaelic Grounds. Please welcome to the stage, on behalf of our November winners, Upperchurch Stromban captain Keith Ryan.
What a journey. How are we going to fit this into 5 minutes? Do you want to start in Kilcommon?
Yeah, it'd probably be a good place to start. But no, throughout the whole year, it's been an incredible journey, I suppose. We had a fair few bumps along the way. I think going back, we actually lost our first game of the year, and kind of ever since that day, I suppose we kind of learned a lot about ourselves and really picked it up from then on. And as you mentioned as well, in Kilcommon, we were probably within about a minute, I'd say, of being knocked out of the championship. And then you see the way the year goes on, so it just goes to show the competitiveness of Tip hurling in general. No matter what grade you play at, it's so high.
You get together as a group, start of the year. You're a wonderful dual club. A lot of you, same bunch of lads are playing football, senior football as well for the club. So getting out of Seamus O'Rian, was that the be all and end all?
Yeah, I think we sat down at the start of the year. We were obviously very disappointed with how the previous year went for us. But yeah, the main goal for us this year was to win a county final and get back to senior hurling where we feel we belong. And I suppose, funny enough, as the year went on, once we achieved that, there was probably a lot of pressure off us as a team, and we probably showed our best hurling after the county final in Munster, and then obviously in All Ireland. So we were grateful for that.
It's a testament to how competitive it is, because, you know, if you sit down at the start of the year to say who's going to win the Premier Intermediate, that is a much harder question to answer than who's the likely runners and riders for Dan Breen.
Yeah, and it's probably something you don't realise until you're in the thick of it, because I was lucky enough when I came up playing with Upperchurch, I was playing in Dan Breen hurling, and you're probably not aware of the calibre of teams in the Premier Intermediate or the Intermediate, but when you're thrown into groups and anyone can beat anyone on any given day, it really shows you how competitive it is, and we're just really glad that we got out of it this year.
Like, to go then and I was asking, you know, some of the girls earlier about, you know, having to regroup. Like, after you win a Harty, you got to regroup to go into the All-Ireland Series. You win the Seamus O'Rian, you go and celebrate that. When do you kind of say, do you know, lads, we'll have a crack at Munster?
Yeah, look, obviously when you win something you have to enjoy it, because that's what you do it, I suppose, to enjoy them good days. But no, we were quickly back on board, I suppose. I think the boys, Liam and the lads, said to us, like, how many opportunities are you going to get to play in a Munster Club Championship or an All-Ireland Club Championship? And I think we met that Thursday after the county final, and we set out a stall that we wanted to play in Croke Park as a club team, which a Tip team hadn't done in a long time. So that was our goal, and like no better motivation than getting to play in Croke Park with your club. Like who else would you rather be, like, you know? And thankfully we did that and achieved on that day as well.
You get to climb the Hogan stand steps as well. There's a lot of fellas never get that opportunity, so that's a singular honour for you.
Yeah, it's a huge achievement, I suppose, and something that will live with me for a long time. It's special, I suppose, when you get to do it with your club, and I suppose we're very close as a team. We've lots of brothers on the team, cousins, lots of best friends as well. So it's even the more special when you do it with people like that.
I was thinking of, he had a few injuries to ride as well. Paddy was injured for a lot of the year, and he came back. I just remember one particular hook. I can't even remember which match it was. Paul would have to tell me which match. You'll know.
Yeah, I know it actually, because I was in the All-Ireland final actually, because your man actually turned me and he was in goal, and Paddy saved my bacon. To be honest, he got a block. Other than that, I'd say it could have been in the back of the net and we could have lost that game. But yeah, missing Paddy and Paddy Green obviously got a very bad injury for us in the All-Ireland semi-final. And to see him miss out in the All-Ireland final was devastating for us, because like growing up when I was a young lad, I was looking up to Paddy Green and I wanted to play alongside him. And I suppose it's lads like Paddy that have really drove on the standards in the club for the last 10 years or so. So it was great to get over the line on that day for him.
I know you're here representing your club and your parish. Not been a bad week for you though, either, has it?
Not too bad.
A debut for Tip?
Oh yes, of course, yeah. Sorry, I wasn't sure what you were alluding to there. Yeah, obviously, no, it's great. Anytime you get the opportunity to put on the Tip jersey, it's a great one. So no, very grateful for that.
It's a tremendous story, because you're the second Tipperary club to win, only the second Tipperary club to win the Intermediate All-Ireland after Killadangan, and they won the first one. So it hasn't been around for very long. It's a tremendous story, and I just think the Cinderella effect and what happened in Kilcommon, there's a Hollywood movie in that.
Yeah, there is. It's been mentioned, I'd say, hundreds of times over the past number of weeks and months. But no, it just kind of that day really summed up us as a team. We just refused to be beaten all year. Like any game we played from then on, it probably didn't look like me maybe coming down the home stretch that we were going to win, but we just found a way somehow. So, yeah.
I think your style of play, I'll leave you with this. Hooks and harries and blocks. I think that's where you started with. That's what you had all the way through the year. That's what you brought to the Munster final, the All-Ireland final. Does that epitomise Upper Church hurling?
Yeah, it does. Obviously, look, every team prides themselves on how hard they can work. But look, we've some serious players as well to back up the hurling. Like you mentioned there, Paddy Phelan, Paddy Green, Paul Shannon. These lads are top-class hurlers. So when you've lads who are willing to work as hard as they are, and we've the calibre of players to finish on the other end as well. So you have something special there.
Great story. Congratulations, Upper Church Band.
And so we've come to our final monthly award winner of 2025. December of last year saw one of the brightest up-and-coming jockeys in the world of flat racing set new heights. Thurles native Billy Lucknan broke the record for the most wins in a calendar year this century when he won his 222nd race of 2025 on New Year's Eve in Wolverhampton at just 19 years of age. Billy couldn't make it here this evening, so please welcome to the stage to collect the award on his behalf, Billy's auntie Mary Lucknan.
Mary, thanks a million for coming tonight. Can you give us a flavour of what life is like for Billy? Because when you're a jockey, everyone in this room makes sacrifices to be an elite sports person. Sometimes I feel jockeys make the ultimate sacrifice.
They do, but Billy has his own personal trainer. He finds it hard to keep the weight down, but she's doing it. He's asked it since he was 7 years of age.
He must love it because it's a hard life. It's early mornings.
He loves it now. He lives for it. As she said, if he couldn't be riding, he wouldn't do anything else.
And with the number of race meetings in England, it means he's away from home pretty much continuously.
He is, yeah. He travels all over the world. He was in Dubai, Abu Dhabi, Australia, the whole lot. He's very seldom at home. Very seldom.
You see him. But obviously, with that amount of winners, he has an agent who's getting him rides, but the phone is ringing the whole time.
Oh, non-stop. The bigger trainers now, even his own father, he can't get him. They're fighting over him. They are fighting over him, the likes of Godolphin and I don't know who else is there, but...
That's okay. If Godolphin are looking for you, if Godolphin are on your phone, then I think that's a good day if Godolphin are ringing you. But the work, you say he's been at this since 7.
He's at this since he was 7 years of age, sitting on the arm of the couch, riding his race, with his whip and beating the arm of the couch, the whole lot, and that's all he ever done. But his mum wouldn't let him go into the jockeys until he'd done all his GS.
Yeah.
He's like passed them all with flying colours, and then he went and got his jockey licence.
And he's living his best life, I would imagine.
Oh, he is, yeah, he loves it. Now, he's out sick at the moment, we'll say, and he's like a devil at home. He wants to be riding constantly. Constantly. He's not happy unless he's on a horse.
You know, you mentioned his weight, and I don't think people have a full appreciation of what every single thing that passes his lips, more so than anyone else in the room. Like, he's almost measuring it on an hourly basis.
Yeah. Well, he went on holidays there with his mum and dad and his brother, and his treat was a half an ice cream.
For the whole holiday?
For the whole holiday. He has to mind his weight, and his favourite meal then is a carbonara when he's not working the day after.
Okay.
Yeah, nothing, water. And that's it.
It's such a difficult life. We spoke to Joe when he won the Coronation Stakes. He's up and down Royal the next day. Billy can have a super day, super ride, numerous winners, and he could be in Newcastle the following morning.
Well, Billy was at Ascot now last year, and he came in at 80-1, and that was his second time riding in Ascot. And that's brilliant for a night, we'll say an 18-year-old, 19.
It's a name we're going to be hearing a lot more of.
Well, I hope so. I hope so.
And next time he'll be here to collect his own feckin' award.
So, I'm a nervous wreck.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mary, thank you very much.
Well, that concludes our monthly winners. So let's give one big round of applause for all our worthy winners for 2025. Well, as you can see, trying to pick a sports star of the year from all those great winners was never going to be an easy task. However, our panel felt that one achievement in particular was worthy of this year's Tipp FM Sports Star of the Year award. So with that, the 2025 Tipp FM Sports Star of the Year is the Tipperary All-Ireland winning senior hurling team. So we'll get Liam up to the stage for that.
Liam, on behalf of everyone, firstly, congratulations. I've thanked you already for the joy you and your team gave us. So it's onwards now into a Munster Championship. And I know you'll have the support of the county behind you, but it is going to be another very, very difficult year because that's what Munster Championship hurling is.
Yeah, it is, Ronan. Just firstly, to receive this on behalf of all the players and the backroom team and Tipperary senior hurlers. We're really honoured and humbled to be in such company tonight and to be the recipient of this overall award. So thanks very much to everybody that voted for us and whatever else in Tipp FM as well for putting on a great night. And yeah, next year or this year now is going to be really difficult. We know that. The warning shots have been fired, I think, over the last couple of league games. So we have a nice little bit of work to do, but we're looking forward to the challenges that lie ahead and hopefully giving everybody something really to look forward to again in 2026.
I can't wait, so I'm sure you can't either.
Yeah, thanks very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, Liam Cal.
Well, that concludes our awards night. First, I want to thank everyone for coming along and making the night possible. I wish you all the very best of luck for 2026 and beyond, and hopefully we'll see some of you back here again in the future. Many thanks, as always, as well to the Talbot Hotel here in Clonmel for their hospitality, and again, a round of applause for Quirke Trophies Ltd for the lovely awards they crafted here today as well. I'd also just like to say thanks to everyone behind the scenes in Tipp FM and getting everything together on the night, and as well thanks to Ronan Quirke for his work here tonight. So well done, Ronan. So that concludes our award ceremony. Again, thanks a million for everyone for being here. I know it's not easy to travel down here on a Thursday night, but we really appreciate it, and safe home. Thank you.
The Tipp FM Sports Star of the Year with the Talbot Hotel Clonmel.